So, this is the Mars in Gemini outlook for 2022 to 2023. Now, Mars will transit the sign of Gemini from August 20th, 2022 until March 25th of 2023. Then Mars will flip back retrograde in the sign of Gemini on October 30th and will stay retrograde until January 12th of 2023. Now, Mars. What is Mars? Mars is about action. It's about aggression, assertion. It's about haste. And Mars likes anything, everything done now, yesterday. Mars is connected with Aries. Mars will get the job done. It is rash and it is outspoken. Now, when we've got Mars with Gemini, well, Gemini is Quicksilver. Gemini is connected with the third house. Gemini is restless. Gemini is about all forms of communication, the written word, the spoken word, and the third house is connected with the internet, social media. So the news right now is going to be in the news. It's going to be about social media. It's going to be about how we talk, what we say, how we say it. We're going to be kind of analytical right now to what we are saying and to whom as well. That's going to be in the news. A lot of gossip. And because the planet Neptune is in Pisces and that's squaring off this Mars in Gemini, sometimes we're not really going to be certain about what we are hearing, both in our personal lives and worldwide, is truthful. But we will feel very restless. We will have to come and go. Travel will be paramount, whether it's seasonal or not. The need to communicate and fiercely and quickly will be at its highest. So let's move along here and let's see how Mars is going to affect your rising sign. So you got Aries. Aries rising. Mars is going to be in your third house. So it's in the natural house because Gemini is connected with the third house. So Aries, of all the signs, you're going to really want to hurry up and put the word out there. But you must be cautious, especially with Aries or Aries rising, because Aries is about action. And Mars in Gemini with Gemini, Gemini has that in common with Aries, that you like to get things done. And we're talking about all forms of communication. We're talking the written word, the spoken word, expression of all kinds. And right now, Aries, you're going to have to be careful that you don't get into any needless conflicts because you're so hurried to express yourself. And yes, that can be on social media and in person. Written word, spoken word, at work, at home, family, friends, you name it. And you're going to be really restless of all times right now. Now, when Mars between October 30th to January 12th flips back retrograde, yes, Aries, with that conflict, and especially with Neptune providing a little bit of this deception, you're going to have to be very clear during the retrograde phase that you want people to know what your intentions are and really what you mean. Because if you don't take the additional time to mean what you say and say what you mean, there could be some disputes. Also, because Mars is connected with the third house, you want to be leery of any contracts you're signing. Uh, I mean, if you have to sign contracts during the retrograde phase of Mars, just be careful you read the fine print. You go over everything with a fine tooth comb, because maybe not immediately, but down the road, there could be problems because we've got Mars and Gemini and it's retrograde, similar to a Mercury retrograde. You really have to be careful, and if you can, pick the right time astrologically during the retrograde phase to really be uh, clear in all forms of communication. Because you may have great intentions, Aries, but people may not get you during that time. But other than that, if you can create a positive communication atmosphere, then all your relations will go really well. Now, also, Mars and Gemini with you, Aries, is also connected with the third house and travel. And what else about repairs or transportation? So there could be, on the negative side, it could be that you need repairs with a car right now. Or on the positive side, maybe you're going to get another car. So vehicles will be somehow paramount, or transportation. Now we will move to the next sign, which is next rising sign or sun sign, which is Taurus. And Taurus rising, you will have Mars in Gemini in your second house. And the second house, Taurus, is about, whoops, gotta put Taurus back there. Taurus, you're going to have Mars in the second house. And the second house is about money. And boy, Taurus, that's your rulership. Uh, so for you right now, Taurus, with Mars in the second house, oh boy, it's going to be about making money. It's going to be about saving money. It's going to be about investments for you, Taurus rising. And there may be some drawbacks during the retrograde phase between October 30th of 2022 to January 12th of 2023. So during that time, Taurus rising, just make sure that you hold on to your money. You don't want any theft or loss of money. And when I say loss of money, yes, physically lose your money, but it could also be a loss of investments at that time. And that could have anything to do from, say, the stock market, real estate, investing in silver, gold, what have you. So be very shrewd with your finances and money during the retrograde phase. But other than that, with Mars in Gemini, you're going to be communicating with money and all forms of income. This is a good time for you guys that got Taurus on the ascendant. It's good to look into all forms, all sources of income. And that can be, yes, maybe Taurus risings will be looking for another job, but it's also a good time because you're going to be so uh, aggressive right now about communicating what you want with money. It's a really good time for you to look into possibly starting a business or getting a project off the ground where you would be making some money. And that can be an independent project right now. Uh, and what else does the second house rule? But Taurus rising, it rules your speech. So you got to be very careful right now, Taurus rising, because Mars is connected with your second house and Gemini. Be careful about what you say. And yes, Mars will be connecting with Neptune in a deceptive style right now. So, similar to the Aries rising, you're going to have to watch your speech. You might really be a little bit edgy, especially during that retrograde phase between October 30th and January 12th, and especially in your need to really close the deals, sign the contracts. There could be disagreements, and Taurus rising, you're really gonna put it to people right now. No holds bars for you. So your speech will have to just be a little softer right now, we should say, Taurus rising. But the second house is also connected with food and culinary pleasures. So you may be really interested in some new foods, uh, and trying new foods may be connected somehow with restaurants and new cultures and, well, all kinds of food in general. But for you, Taurus, the main focus is going to be the money. So this is going to be a good time for you for all sources of income. Now, the next sign that we've got is of all the signs, and it is, what is that? Gemini. So, Gemini rising, well, Mars is going to be in your first house. So, of all the 12 signs, Gemini, you're going to have to be kind of cautious about what you say because Mars is aggressive now and it's in your first house. So, you're really going to have a fierce need to just express whatever it is you've got on your mind. And because it's going to be in your first house, wow, Mars is going to have a restless need to change it up a little, which is really good. Maybe you want a new hairstyle. Maybe you really want to show people a more confident side of you. But we're talking Mars meeting up with Gemini, so you don't want to come across as too confident or too domineering because there you could run into issues. And in your haste to speak your mind with it in your first house, that could additionally cause conflicts because right now you're just going to want to just tell it like it is. You're going to be restless for change, which is good, but during the retrograde phase between uh, October 30th and January 12th of 2023, just be careful that you really clarify your speech too, because this will create conflicts. And be careful too, Gemini rising, that you don't speak so hastily that this is really irritating to those closest to you. And that can be in your work, it can be personal, professional, family, friends, whatever. You want to be kind of slowing it down, focusing. And the good is that this is the time for you, Gemini rising, to write that blog or start a book or really take up any and all forms of expression. Who knows? Gemini rising right now, it could be a really creative time for you. Or because uh, the third house and Gemini is about all forms of expression and ideals. But speaking of which, this is there again something Gemini rising that you will have to be careful of is really expressing so much your opinions that you're kind of tripping over yourself a little bit there. And there again, that can create conflicts. Uh, and don't, if you can help it, that is, I would not advise to sign contracts or sign anything for that matter between October 30th to January 12th, if you can help it. I mean, if you can't avoid it, of course, uh, then I would advise perhaps to pick the best day during the Mars retrograde phase to sign anything. Other than that, this is the time for you for all forms of expression, all forms of communication. Just slow down a little bit. And that also includes in your restlessness and your need to be on the go and travel. You could get into an accident, dear Gemini. Probably not, but especially once Mars squares off with Neptune, make sure you have all your documents together, make sure you're well organized, and you'll be fine. Now we've got the next rising sign, which is Cancer. Yes, Cancer rising. Well, Cancer, you've got Mars going backwards here. You've got Mars in Gemini in your 12th house. So, what are you going to be very, well, assertive about? Well, the 12th house is about secrets. It's about behind the scenes. And what do you want to communicate with Mars and Gemini there? Well, you may feel like, believe it or not, Cancer rising, this is a time for you to maybe get some counseling, and your desire to communicate is to communicate your feelings because the 12th house is the house of Pisces. And so you got to communicate what you really feel. Maybe you've been hiding some of those feelings, or you really haven't been expressing yourself, and it's been causing some frustration. So, Mars and Gemini will allow you now to open up and express what you've been keeping inside. And this is actually good. It is a great time to really talk it out with that therapist, that best friend, or whomever it is that you trust. But the need to communicate connected with the 12th house is very strong now. And the 12th house, what else is the 12th house about? It's about medicine, it's about surgeries. This may be the time, Cancer rising or Cancer, that you may want to have the surgeries, major, minor, what have you, that you've been putting off because this is the time you may want to communicate with some of those medical professionals that you've wanted to get in touch with. And that can also be alternative therapies as well, not just standard physicians that you need to have discussions with, but you might be looking into and eager to get into like meditation. yoga. This is really going to appeal to you right now, Cancer rising. You might get involved with some kind of a spiritual group of like-minded individuals, and it's a real need to express yourself in this world of the 12th house. And also, who knows, maybe Cancer rising, you might look into astrology or get involved with a online or in-person astrology group, because this is going to be like good therapy for you, because right now you have the need to express and communicate your feelings and emotions. So this is a very good thing that Gemini Mars is going to help you to open up and say what you feel. Very good time. Cancer rising for you as well, connected with the 12th house. Also, too, one more note here, Cancer rising, you may also, on the other hand, may be a good therapist to other people. So while you may want to communicate your deepest feelings to others, you may notice that you are the essence of wanting to also help others and express with others their deepest feelings. Okay, so let's move along to the Leo rising. Yes, indeed. We've got Leo on the ascendant. So, Leo, what is this for you? Well, Leo, you've got Mars in Gemini in your 11th house. Oh boy, Leo, you love people to begin with. You are, for the most part, Leo rising, outgoing, people, person oriented. You like the show. You love to connect. And right now, Leo on the rising, you've got Mars and Gemini in your 11th house of friendships, dreams, aspirations, goals, group connect. So, Leo, you're going to be kind of a little bit of an Aquarius right now, your opposite sign, but that's okay because Leo likes to mingle. And so, what does this mean? Yes, you've got Mars in Gemini in your 11th house. So, you, Leo, are definitely going to be a gadabout. You're going to want to group connect. Yes, the third house is very similar to the 11th house because it's about social. It's about social media. It's about communicating with groups. And third house, 11th house are connected with social media. So this is a time, this is going to be a big deal for you right now, Leo. If you haven't signed up for uh, social media, you might be doing it now. You might be communicating more than ever as part of a group in person, or yes, on the internet. Or you might be involved with some of those career goals. You might be setting up a web page or really focusing on some of your aspirations over the internet and really mingling and meeting with people in person to discuss your career goals, but it will somehow very likely be connected with the internet. Or you might be doing some public relations and advertising right now. You're really going to be taking Mars with Gemini a lot of effort to communicate what you really want out of life. And that is very positive. And with Leo rising, you have a special dazzle and creativity with all that you want to accomplish a certain sparkle, as if you will, Leo rising. So this is a good time to get input from other people. This isn't the time for you, Leo rising with Mars and Gemini, to be alone. But yes, with all the sun signs right now during Mars and retrograde phase, there are the drawbacks, Leo rising. So, what is the drawback for you between October 30th and January 12th? Well, because Mars is in Gemini and so eager to express itself with so many people in your life right now, yes, like many people, rising signs at this particular time, you have to be clear. If you're going to be involved with social media, the internet, you're going to be involved with a lot of groups right now. Yes, what you say to them or what your speech is and how you are expressing yourself, because Leo does love to express themselves. You have to be clear, concise, and make sure that there are no mix up with a group you're speaking to, or groups or friends or people you're communicating with. If you're going to be a leader, which oftentimes Leo risings are, you have to let the others know. This is where your leadership lies. This is what particular goals that you want to accomplish and you have in mind, because during the retrograde phase, you're going to be so eager to be with many people right now, or more than a few, let's just say, that people may feel like you are scattered in your energies. So you want to slow down, you want to focus, you want to project your particular ideals to people in a very well organized style so that there are no mixed ups, there are no nixes of communication, and all your organization and your leadership and your group connects will go really well. And of course, do read the contracts, Leo rising. And if you can put off any kind of serious negotiations or signing on the line until after January 12th or just before October 30th, preferably probably the beginning of the month of October, that would be best. But it's a great time to get to know new people and meet new people too, Leo rising. Now, the next sign we're going to look at here is the sign of Virgo, Virgo rising. So, Virgo, you're going to have Mars at the top of your chart in Gemini in the 10th house. What does that mean? So, with Mars in Gemini at the midheaven, or yes, the top of the chart, this is the time that you really are going to be very aggressive and very outgoing, trying to get that particular career or ambition off the ground. You're going to take a lot of time. In fact, you may find that you're putting out a lot of resumes and applications or meeting with VIPs and really put a lot of sparkling, dazzling Gemini Mars energy into really networking. you're going to be putting it and turning it up into high gear, Virgo rising now. It's the time to meet with those special people. And because Mars is aggressive and Gemini is communicative, this is a time that you may have many irons in the fire, Virgo rising. Like you are not going to just settle possibly for one career. Why settle for one career, Virgo rising, when you can have multifaceted careers? And that's how Mars in Gemini operates on your 10th house. And if Mars is going to be transiting your 10th house and it is connected with your midheaven, you're going to be very concerned about your image too. So right now, Virgo rising, you're going to do whatever it takes to alter your appearance, and that may be physically, but more likely it's going to be about really upping that reputation and uh, really make sure that you are number one. People are going to be really seeking you out for your leadership and, of course, your communication skills. You're going to be doing whatever it takes to get to the top, but you're just going to be so busy. And because Mars in Gemini is connected with the third house, you might be traveling right now, Virgo, with your career, or you're going to land that particular career or job that you're just on the go. It may be involving sales or just dealing with many types of people from many types of backgrounds. But during that retrograde phase, Virgo rising, you're going to have to pull back, slow down a little bit because you may really overexert yourself during the retrograde phase of October 30th to January 12th. So slow down, take a breath, and yes, with you, you're going to have to additionally be clear in your case, Virgo rising, that you don't come across as overly ambitious, because that could also turn people off, especially during that retrograde phase. They may feel like in your effort to reach the top, that you might be kind of stepping on their toes a little bit, and that could create conflict. But if you mind the guideposts along the way, Virgo rising, this could be a great time for you and your career. Now, the next rising sign we've got here is a Libra. And Libra, your Mars in Gemini will be going backwards. It will be going into the ninth house. Well, now, what is it that you want to communicate, Libra rising? Well, you want to communicate, especially since Gemini and Libra are both air signs. You want to communicate your philosophy. You want to communicate your ideals, because this is the ninth house. And this is the time, Libra in particular, you're going to be feeling really restless. And Libra and Gemini really like each other. You're both air signs, and this is the time, because we're talking ninth house. You want to express those ideas. You want to express those opinions, those principles that you hold near and dear. And you might get, to be honest, Libra rising, you might get a little preachy right now. And during the retrograde phase between October 30th to January 12th, just pull back a little bit. You're going to be feeling so good with that Mars and Gemini that you're going to feel like whatever you say is correct. And it could be, but just be cautious that you don't express too many of your ideals and principles too aggressively and forcefully, because then during especially the retrograde phase and with Neptune the deceiver squaring off with Mars, well, then that could create conflicts with your rising sign, Libras, that people may differ with you, but you are just so eager to express your thoughts right now that yes, that's where your downfall could be. Just realize, Libra rising, that right now you're not going to be the only one with opinions. And if you have to express your opinions, do so with consideration and compassion with what other people think and believe as well. Now, the ninth house is also connected, yes, with long distance travel. You might check out some of those other distant locales, some of the other cultures, especially if you don't go very far. International anything may be very attracted to you right now, Libra rising. And who knows? This is a time you might be eager to speak another language, or maybe many languages, Mars and Gemini. And by the way, if you do have Mars in Gemini on your midheaven, you, Libra rising as well, could be very goal oriented right now. And you will kind of have a combination of wanting to express your principles and your ambitions at the same time. So it's going to be like you're going to have a need for the power and to get your career off the ground, and you may have every and any opportunity for whatever goals you're seeking, but you're also going to be preaching at the same time, where that could create the 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 conflict. So, as aforementioned, just be careful with that. But you're going to feel restless, and that's not so bad, Libra ascendant. So, the next sign we've got is Scorpio on the ascendant. So, Scorpio rising or Scorpio sun, you're going to have going backwards, you're going to have Mars in Gemini in your eighth house. Oh, that's so deep. But you can relate to that, Scorpio rising, because you like the mysteries, you like the depth, you like to investigate. So, right now, Scorpio rising with Mars in Gemini in your eighth house, you're going to have a need uh, to be expressive and aggressive with anything that deals with emotional depth. Kind of like the 12th house Mars. You may want to go for therapy right now and really express how you feel, because you're going to have a desire to do that too. You're going to want to really say what you feel. That Mars in Gemini, and you're going to be very charming and very expressive doing that, by the way, Scorpio. But the eighth house, besides depth, is about beginnings and endings. And so, yes, Scorpio on the ascendant, there could be some beginnings and endings now, and you may want to hasten that a little bit, by the way. Uh, so this actually, let's just say, for example, if you do end some kind of relationship, or begin it for that matter. It could be something that really frees you because Gemini is somewhat free spirited, like its opposite sign of Sagittarius, and you're going to feel kind of restless right now. So, beginnings and endings may be actually a bonus for you, believe it or not. Not a negative, but a positive. Uh, Eighth house also Scorpio deals with trusts and wills, other people's money. Do be careful, especially during the retrograde phase, Scorpio rising, that you don't borrow money or uh, go after a loan. And if you do, and if you have to sign for something like that or anything, for that matter, Scorpio rising, especially during the retrograde phase between uh, October 30th to January 12th. Just make sure maybe within that time frame you find a really good astrological day that is more clear of these snags, especially because we've got Neptune squaring off with Mars and Gemini. So that could create some issues down the line. So it's not a good time to get a loan or borrow money or anything like that. But that there again, you could be very eager to do so because you've got Mars in action oriented, communication oriented Gemini in your eighth house. So the other rulerships for the eighth house are the occult or mysteries of life, similar again to the 12th houses. It's a water sign. So this is a good time for you also, Scorpio rising, to look into meditation, yoga, but especially because the eighth house is so deep, you might want to look into astrology, or you might be very eager to investigate. This might be a good time for you, Scorpio rising, to get a metal detector or something like that, because the mysteries are just going to compel you right now with Mars in Gemini, and especially with restlessness and investigating a mystery. Right now, a metal detector would be perfect for you, Scorpio. You can get out and about and investigate uh, just a little. And this is going to be connected both in person and the internet. So there may be certain issues connected with research that you've wanted to dig into a little bit and figure out what's going on. And so this is a good time for you to, yes, do the research that you've been putting off. Write that book that involves digging deep. But yes, it is a very dazzling and communicative time for you, Scorpio rising, involving anything that you have to dig deep. Now, we've got the next rising sign, which is Sagittarius. Yes, indeed. Sagittarius. Now, Mars for you. Oh my goodness. Sag rising. Mars is going to be in your seventh house. And of course, what does seventh house rule? Sagittarius rising, but Mars is connected in your seventh house of relationships. Oh boy. So for you single Sagittarius risings, you're going to have a lot of opportunities now to connect and network, if especially if you're single, with new people that are coming into your life now that will allow you opportunities for all forms of partnerships, business, uh professional, personal, and there's a possibility right now that you may decide in your need to communicate and really put your ideas and your feelings out there into relationship and all seventh house efforts. This is a time, Sagittarius rising, you may think about taking that serious relationship to the next level. So, this is a good time for you and your partner to be very busy. You may find that you're doing a lot with your partner, you're having fun. You and your partner are getting together with many people because this is also a very public place for Mars and Gemini. It's a time of fun with you and your sweetheart, doing lots of activities, really meeting and greeting many people. But Mars is also connected, Sagittarius rising, with the seventh house and legal affairs. So you may feel that this is the time to pursue some of those legal activities. Maybe, yes, there is certain legal possible legal contracts that you want to sign right now and get going and meet with lawyers or legal issues. But yes, we've got Mars retrograde from October 30th to January 12th of 2022. So Sagittarius rising. This is a time, yes, there could be some legal hassles, not necessarily, or partnership issues could get into a snag, especially if you and your sweetheart aren't agreeing or seeing eye to eye. And with Mars and Gemini there, you're going to be very expressive. You're going to be very eager to really want to speak your mind now, Sagittarius rising, especially since Gemini is your opposite sign. So you're really going to really put it out there, and that may cause conflict uh, in your effort to say how you feel with regards to the state of your partnership, or how you want your partnership, your relationship to go. That could create conflicts during that retrograde phase, but it's going to be a very busy time. Also, you're going to be meeting with many people professionally coming into your life and wanting to partner with you, or you could be bouncing around lots of ideas, Mars and Gemini. But there again, be careful of some of those ideas that you project professionally or personally, because you're going to be very eager to express the desire for partnership, the desire to kind of group think right now. And that can either go really good or not so good. But with that square off to Neptune right now, as all the rising signs, be very clear and concise when it comes to legal or partnership or public group concerns. And you're going to be very sparkling and fascinating, Sagittarius rising. Then we have a Capricorn on the ascendant. And yes, Capricorn rising. So, Mars for you, Capricorn rising, is going to be, oh, you love it, the work house, the sixth house. Capricorn on the ascendant. So, boy, you're already a workhorse. Capricorn rising, work, work, work. And with Mars in Gemini in your sixth house, wow. Okay, so if you, Capricorn rising, have been looking for that particular job and you've been unhappy with what you're doing, you, of all the signs, Capricorn, are going to be very busy putting out the resumes, putting out the applications, shaking hands with many people that will be a boost to your career. Now, although Mars is not in your 10th house, it's not so much about your reputation now, Capricorn. It's about you and getting the job that you feel comfortable with. It's about getting the job that you feel satisfied with. And with Mars and Gemini, you're going to be really aggressive about getting the job done in your job, or getting the perfect job, or for that matter, jobs that you have always wanted. So, with Mars and Gemini, Capricorn, in your 6th house, this is the time when you may feel that you don't want just one job. You may have, say, a job that you're focused on, and then you want another job on the side, and another job as well. So you are going to find yourself interested, very likely, in more than one position. And this is going to be very fulfilling to you, Capricorn rising, because you're going to get to express yourself in many different areas and maybe many different talents that you have. You might moonlight, for example, and this is going to be very satisfying with you to express yourself during the day with your day job, and maybe express yourself during the night with your nighttime job. But nonetheless, you're going to put a lot of energy into your work, which is perfect for a Capricorn rising, because generally, Capricorn rising, you love your work. And professionally, with Mars and Gemini, you may find that there's many different people that are seeking you out for advice professionally. You just seem to have the answer, and you're going to be doing a lot of networking, similar to Mars on the midheaven, but this is more about what really gives you happiness. And it's kind of a modest placement for Mars and Gemini. Helping people, giving advice to people, possibly, perhaps like yourself, helping people get a job. And also, this is a time for you, Mars and Gemini. Capricorn, you might be thinking or taking a lot of action regarding health and exercise. Maybe you've been putting off that diet you've wanted, or who knows, signing up with that local health club, and also associating people with health and wellness. And of course, that can be conventional or unconventional. Besides hanging out at the gym, you might be seeking out that particular dietitian or somebody who's involved with alternate healing and healing remedies. Similar to the 12th house, it's also a time for inward healing and healing as far as physical healing as well. And also, as 6th house rules pets, you might be really involved right now with volunteering, 6th house, with a local animal shelters, or you may yourself get a pet, and this is really rewarding for you. So this is a good time, Capricorn, for all those work, diet, and mundane and connected with animals, pets, and all those 6th house connections. And I might say, which you are going to be very energetic with your communication Capricorn skills. Now, we've got then Aquarius on the ascendant. Now, Aquarius, you're going to love Mars in Gemini, especially Aquarius. You're going to have, with Mars and Gemini in your 5th house, if you are unattached right now, somewhat like the 7th house, many opportunities for love and relationships, although Mars and Gemini in the fifth house is more about dating, kind of casual friendships, that kind of thing. But Aquarius is going to love Mars and Gemini because you're both air signs, similar to Libra rising. You're going to feel especially very communicative now. You really want to open up and express, especially Aquarius, your intellectualism, your intellectual ideas in a very detached manner. And because you're Aquarius rising, it's going to be very charming. And this is a time also, Aquarius, where you might be working with kids. So, yes, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to connect with possible dating, but you're also going to have an opportunity to connect with kids. Now, that could be professionally, especially if you work with children. It's going to be very rewarding and also very creative. But also, it could be your personal kids. You're going to have probably right now very good communication or very eager to get involved with your children's activities. And that's going to be very rewarding for you. And possibly their creativity or your personal creativity. Or if you have grandkids, you will find yourself involved with their life and their activities and connecting with them, and that will be very rewarding. But the fifth house, Aquarius, is very creative. So you're going to feel especially dazzling right now with wanting to express your best talents and your creative efforts. And it could be a time right now, Aquarius rising. Who knows? Maybe you want to take up art or music, maybe play that piano or the guitar and you've been putting it off. And this is the time you're going to be very focused on all forms of creativity. And that can also be connected with the internet as well. So the fifth house is of fun also. And who knows? Because the fifth house is also connected with speculation, this is a time, Aquarius rising. Who knows? Maybe you wanted to do a little gambling, play the lotto, and who knows? You might win the lotto for that matter. But yes, it's going to be a time that you may want to take that vacation that you've been putting off because the fifth house is about fun and it's about leisure. So you may be looking into vacation packages or taking the vacation that you've wanted to, or just thinking about having fun with the kids on uh, that fun vacation, fun outings, and you're making plans at this time. And it's all very fast and furious because we're talking Mars action with Gemini. But nonetheless, with all those fifth house efforts, you're going to be very fast and furious about your communication. Now, you will have to be cautious during the retrograde phase. Aquarius rising between October 30th to January 12th, because your efforts with the fifth house, with fun and creativity and children's efforts and so on, is going to be very quicksilver right now. You may have to just pull back on a little bit. You're going to feel maybe a little bit exhausted from all that fun you might be having. Or who knows, maybe you're going to feel a bit strained. You have to deal with the kids or the grandkids, or you're doing so much at once that you may feel stressed and strained. And as all the rising signs during this retrograde phase, do be clear and concise, in this case, connecting with family and family fun, or especially children, or don't overtax yourself, because the fifth house is so much connected with energy and high energy sometimes, that sometimes you may have a tendency, Aquarius rising during the retrograde phase, to really just overdo it. But whatever you do, however you're going to have fun, be very clear about your intentions, about what you want to do. Now, we then move on to finally Pisces rising. And Pisces, you're going to have Mars in Gemini in your fourth house. And what is the fourth house about? It's about family, home and family. But Pisces rising, it's also about your physical home. So right now, especially with creative Gemini Mars, you may feel very aggressive about, well, decorating your home. It's a time that if you're not decorating and putting creativity and action into beautifying your surroundings, then you're going to feel very at home right now at home. This is a time, especially with Mars and Gemini there and the communication, you may find that this is a time that you're going to be entertaining. You may be having people into your home to communicate with and have fun with Gemini, and bounce around ideas and have fun. So this is about entertaining, communicating, bringing people into your personal atmosphere and in your environment right now, and having fun, and really just opening up and communicating with people in your space. And yes, decorating, beautifying your home. Maybe you're going to have some friends or family help you redecorate your home or renovate your home. And you're going to be very busy doing this. And it's going to be so much fun because we're talking Gemini. You're going to be bouncing around out ideas about what to do and how to decorate and how to renovate. But do be careful, Pisces rising during the retrograde phase between October 30th, 2022 and January 12th of 2023, because this is a time where, yes, you may find, because it's connected with the fourth house and home, and you've got that deceptive Neptune connecting with Mars and Gemini, you may find that there are some needed repairs, needed renovations on your home that you either were putting off, and now's the time to do those repairs or renovations, or they may crop up unexpectedly. So this could be an issue. Also, to be careful of conflicts where within the family, because the fourth house is connected with your family. And so if there's not conflicts during this retrograde phase, you may have good intentions, but between you and your other family members, you may not be clear about expressing your feelings towards each other, or you may feel like there's some competition there, especially Mars in Gemini, and it's a lot of gossip that may be going on within the family, and some conflict and a lot of he said, she said. So during that retrograde phase, Pisces rising, do be very cautious about family matters at that time. But hey, on the other end of the spiel here, you may feel Pisces rising that you might want to spend time with family because you guys have a lot to communicate with. And who knows, Pisces rising during the retrograde phase, somebody in your family from the past may come back to also talk with you and reconnect and communicate with you. And this could actually, on the positive side, be very rewarding. Also, you may want to travel with family. You may be taking some family outings or family trips right now because we're talking Mars and Gemini. You want to communicate with family or travel with family. You're going to be feeling very restless right now, but it's all about your home, about your family, and really making an effort to communicate in those areas. And also, too, the fourth house to some degree also kind of sort of connected like the second house with investments. So right now is a time, Pisces, you may invest in real estate or look for another home. This might be a time that instead of doing repairs or renovations, you look into real estate. Who knows? You might even want a career real estate during the Mars in Gemini time, because this is going to be an area of focus with you about home, family, real estate, and so on. So who knows? You might find the perfect home. So as you can see, we've got a very busy time with Mars in Gemini. It's going to be all about communications of all kinds and having fun and really just communicate our inner feelings and our thoughts. But during the retrograde phase and certain times when there is a bit of a square off with Neptune, we will have to be very clear about our intentions, not get involved with petty gossip or deception or secrets now, but to be very forthcoming and sensitive. And be careful about all forms of travel. Make sure that if you're going out, you're well organized and orderly. And it's about fun, yes, but it's also about caution. So if we can, not ignore the pitfalls of Mars in Gemini and focus on the positive communication, restlessness, travel, expression in a positive way, and really make an effort to communicate in a positive way, then I would say Mars in Gemini is going to be a really uplifting time.